Haven't recorded. That's great. 100 videos and we can't even record properly. Welcome to Dangerous Policy. I'm Charlene.
I'm Crispin.
And it is our 100th video.
Yay!
Congratulations, Crispin.
Congratulations, Charlene.
Yeah, it's been a long way coming. But firstly, I want to address, we're not really in our studio, in our usual space.
No, we're trying to experiment out because we will be moving into a new studio in likely March. So I'm gradually migrating the equipment out of the old place. So temporarily, we're trying to find something that works. Now, when you're doing a recording, what you want to do is be really close to the camera and have the background like far away. And so that's a sort of a problem we're dealing with at the moment, where obviously this couch is against the wall. So I'll figure out ways to make this backdrop a little bit more studio-like and impressive. But hopefully what we're trying to do right now is make sure that the sound and you know, the reverb and all of those sorts of things are okay. And then we can look at, you know, flashing it out a bit. But then come March, we will have our proper studio, which will be our permanent space. And I think it'll be set up. I'm looking forward to that. It'll be set up quite grandiose. Yeah,
definitely. And we're just kind of like reducing costs.
Yeah, definitely reducing costs. I mean, that's part of it. So the studio we're in is quite expensive, and it has some drawbacks. So first of all, there's a million stairs to get up to it. It's also really noisy because it's like a multiple craft place. So there are people doing different sorts of things, music recording, you know, audio work, that sort of thing. Also some, you know, manufacturing and craft. So you would have heard watching these videos, occasionally there'll just be like some massive drill going off in the background. And, you know, for a podcast studio where we're paying money to access, that just seemed a bit too much. So so we're going to move into a quieter space where we don't have these distractions, and hopefully a slightly bigger space so we can set it up, you know, in a way that we want. So watch this space. In the meantime, please try to endure the system that we have, and we will try to add to it to make it more impressive over time.
Yeah. I think we just have a really high standard for us because coming from the first time we started this, we were like, we'll add lights and this and that. I think that looks good, but
well, that should delve into what we're going to make this 100th video about.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is have a top 5. Each of us have our own top 5 things that we have learned about setting up a YouTube channel. And I don't have them in any particular order, so it's not like, you know, this is number 5, number 4, number 1 thing. These are just 5 things that I've learned, and we'll go tit for tat. One thing that I've learned is that lighting is insanely important. Like people think about the camera, people think about the microphone, and you know, their post-production, and all of that's relevant and important. But by far, the most like unlikely, understated thing is lighting. That can absolutely make or break your channel. And if you're making a choice between investing in good lighting and just using your mobile phone camera as the recording device, or getting like, you know, the $5,000 camera that has a million different features designed for vlogging and all of that, just get the lighting right. That is the most important thing out of the studio setup that you can invest in. And you can do it for, you can spend any amount of money on lighting, but yeah, it's a very important one.
Yeah, and we like workshopped our lighting. And then that actually kind of related to my number 1, because my number 1 was like, just start, even when you don't think you're ready. Because I remember being so proud when we first did our own video. And then I would show my brother and my boyfriend, and they were like, I can't even last 5 seconds. It's so ugly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's wrong with it? And he's like, you look so flat, like, because of the lighting. Yeah, and he was so like annoyed with our video that he was like, I'll come in and help you. Which is great. You know, we ended up cutting up foam and like putting in our IKEA lights and just trying to shape.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. And don't die on the hill of perfectionism either. When you start, and this is, I think, true for every YouTuber, right? the first 5, 10, 20 videos that you make are going to be atrocious. And what I think happens is people do a few different videos and they never get it quite right, and it becomes a perennial battle with the soul. Like you're in the mind of the creator and being like I can't get it exactly the way I want it to get it, and that just comes from experience. That comes from practice, and so we now know what works and what doesn't work. And we're making compromises right now on what works and what doesn't work by being in this space. So it's just the nature of the beast. And over time, you will continue to improve and then hit your own personal groove as to how you actually like these videos to run.
But on top of the visual, I think audio is probably number one in my head, because with audio, like reverb, oh my goodness, like it is. We've like scrapped a lot of our videos when we got locked out of the studio. One of our other failures. And we tried to do it downstairs, and there's just so much echo, and I was like, it was just not nice to listen to.
Yeah, like that's true. And even if you didn't have a video, and you just had good audio, and it was just an audio podcast, that's fine. So yeah, the audio is the biggest quality differential. It doesn't matter how blurry this is and whether we're in focus or not. What really matters is, can people listen to it when they're driving? Can they listen to it when they're doing the dishes? Are they going to die inside when they're trying to endure the content? Or is it something that's pleasant to listen to and they can sort of carry out their day? And people are likely to leave it on if it's, not tormenting them like a television ad or something. So
exactly. Does it sound like butter to the ears? I don't know. All right. So second one, keep it fun. That's what my number one is. Number two, can't count. It's really cool, like, to work on a YouTube channel like this, but then also share it, because like I don't know how many YouTubers actually start with a friend or whatever. Like a lot of them start by themselves, and I always hear stories of like them feeling very isolated, and they tend to be friends with other YouTubers because they have that shared experiences. But from the get-go, we started together and we're like, well, we don't know what we're doing, but we'll try here. And then like we share our victories and then we share our absolute failures, and it's been great.
That's true, actually. And I mean, I didn't have that on my list. I wish I had it. It's a really important thing. Like, YouTubing is an incredibly lonely thing for most creators. It doesn't seem that way because people, when they've got big channels, they've got a community, they've got, a certain degree of fan base, they've got people that will interact with them all the time. So it doesn't seem like a lonely exercise. But I can't tell you just how many countless hours are spent by oneself away from, like, the recording environment and all this sort of stuff, where you're just doing editing and the grinding out the hours of like what you plan to do next, and the sense that you're not getting anywhere, and like there's this real challenge of the soul, and if you've got someone who's with the journey, that just makes it so much easier. So I'm with you, Charlotte, and I can't really think about those people who just do these day after day on their own, doing all the different things that you need to do.
Like, I feel like with running a YouTube channel, it's like 10% filming and 90% post-production and planning.
And that was one on my list as well.
Oh,
it's important. So every naive person picks up their microphone, speaks into the camera, and away they go. And they think that it's just a matter of recording it, uploading it, instant stardom, right? And that's just so far removed from reality of actually doing this. It requires enormous work. So making, and then you'll stuff things up and you'll have to do it all over again. And so, you've got all your post editing. So that's your video editing, your audio editing, your graphics and things that you put in. You've got to get like the lighting and the studio and everything right. You need to have all your points like sort of basically at least sketched out as to what you're going to talk about, and then you're going to do several takes often of a single video.
Yeah, and I remember just like sitting there because I help you record, and I just sit there, and I'm just kind of like going off a tangent, Crispin. We got to re-record this. There's no way anyone will watch it. I'm just like, where is it going? I'm going to sleep. And it's annoying, but then the second take or third take is a lot better.
Yeah, it's worth the effort. It is. So, and your next one?
My next one, okay. This is a funny one, but yeah, politics is like Mean Girls. Like, honestly. Okay, coming back from a background of health, like public health, I had no idea of what actual global politics meant and who the major players were before, being involved with this channel. It's been actually a really beneficial thing because, when you go off a tangent, I'd be like, I don't actually know what that means. The majority don't know what it means. So, but yeah, I like to relate it to politics like Mean Girls. And what I've learned from Dangerous Policy is that you need to know who your allies are and who yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's so hard for politicians to be friends. Without somebody, stuffing it up, and it's a consistent cycle. But yeah, I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, well, it's the good thing about having a channel that's focused on global politics is it's constantly changing. There's always things to talk about. There's always something happening, and there's always something new. So you don't run out of topics very easily. But it does also mean that a lot of what you talk about has a certain shelf life. Like it doesn't, things change so dramatically. There are some videos that we've made that we would say are probably already redundant. They've been, things have progressed. The next thing on my list was don't think that speaking to a camera is natural, right? When you are doing a YouTube video and you're when you're preparing for it and you're speaking in the mirror or you're speaking with a friend and you're having a sort of conversation, we started out on the channel by having a kind of an interview approach because it was sort of just so intolerable speaking directly into a lens and trying to maintain a chain of thought. And yet that does come with practice. So it's not a natural thing to be able to speak in interviews and on television and on screen and on that sort of stuff. It's a totally learned skill. There aren't really any naturals that I know who are just gets in front of a camera instantly and it can do all that sort of stuff. It's something that people need to do through practice. So when you have seen yourself for hundreds of hours on screen, you will develop the skills to be able to speak in a more concise and articulate way. It reduces the number of fillers. So you'll never reduce them entirely, nor would you want to. But if you speak in front of a camera long enough, you will learn to, express yourself, get your point across in a way that doesn't sit there going, yeah, that sort of stuff.
And so
that's one that I still have, So yeah, I do that a lot.
No, and it's really good actually. I think it's exposure therapy, right? And you have that immediate feedback as soon as you come home and have to watch yourself for what it is. And yeah, like you're like, oh, I couldn't have done that. I could do this better, which is great because that means the next time you film, you're like way better than before. You have those things in the back of your mind, and it is a practice. I agree with that, definitely. Like, it is a weird skill to be able to talk in front of a camera and be so casual about it. And I think it links to one of my points was to not take myself so seriously. I think, this is the reason why maybe people feel awkward talking in front of camera is like they think they've got to be right the first time or really articulate and know what to say and how to say and basically be perfect, I remember first starting this, I was so scared of being cancelled. For something that we had nobody. We had 10 people maybe who would watch our videos. But I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, I can't. I froze up I don't want to talk. Crispin can talk. Sorry. But here I am now, just being yeah, whatever. And it's joyful. I don't know. It's nice because we know that when we do upload this and, people are going to see it and we can connect online and there's just, it feels special. And I think I definitely urge people to, maybe it's not a YouTube thing, but like, practice talking in front of cameras. But I think we have to anyway in this new COVID era. When everyone's moving online. But yeah. And it was like job interviews too. I did a lot of that. I was like exposure therapy, just keep talking in front of the camera. My 5, move to 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Have no expectations. So like beginning of this channel, we didn't know where we were going to go. Well, I didn't know where we were going to go. And I think it's very easy to get caught up in the YouTube algorithms and your engagement and all this and be like, oh, should we do this, do that? There's a million and one things you can actually do to grow your channel and build and upskill, right? But I think you have to kind of return back to your why. And I think a lot of our viewers, reminded us of that. It was like, why did you start? And like, it made us reflect a lot. It's like, yeah, we're not actually chasing like these big numbers. We're actually want to provide value, in our way would be global politics and democratizing decision making. So yeah, and also like the algorithm changes all the time, and also we're humans, so we change all the time. And if our interests go X, Y, that's okay. I kind of liked your poker video because you're like talking about a passion. It's like, this is the 5 things that you shouldn't do, but you still do them anyway.
Well, okay, so there are some poker pros in the city who have engaged with me since that video and have just said, yeah, those are like really good points, right? And these are obviously the pros have internalized those things for a long time and they've progressed beyond them, but it's the sort of information you'd want when you're starting out trying to accelerate. Okay, what are the things that I need to do to get good as quickly as possible? And so yeah, that video actually resonated not just with what I said, but I actually got some positive feedback from high level experts in the field saying, actually, yes, those are 5 things that people need to know early on in order to get over the worst of it. So yeah, that was good. My number 1, and again, not in any particular order, but I think this is for those. I
promise this is 1 to 5. We just
yeah, but I think this is the number 1 for people who want to create a YouTube channel.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So it's not necessarily the things that I've learned put at the top of the list, but if you want to create a YouTube channel, the thing to remember is that it is a marathon. It's never a sprint. Even those that got picked up by the algorithm and so on, like the video, we're at 100 videos in 6 months. I think that video production rate will only accelerate over time, to be honest. And if you look at the numbers when it comes to channels, the average number of videos of people who have, say, 100,000 subscribers have like 20,000 videos, right? Like we're talking huge numbers of videos. So when people tune into a channel and they go, oh, it's really successful, look at all the production, they've got all these people, and it took a long time for them to get there. There are the few overnight successes, and they become famous because of being an exception to the rule. Whereas for the vast majority, and I think for those that have the most staying power, they have built up that relationship with their audience over extensive periods of time, gradually expanding, albeit in an exponential way. And then it takes, thousands of videos. So the videos that we have made in our first 100, we've come a long, long way, but I am very sure that the 200th video, the 500th video that we make is going to be vastly better than all the ones that we've made so far. So, we're confident that our skills will continue to improve, that the audience will get more and more out of each video as we go along, and that eventually we will hit a groove where we can produce videos very, very quickly at the maximum 100 standard, and every audience member tuning in will know exactly what they're going to get each time, and that will hopefully continue to grow and expand. But if you want to start a YouTube channel, it's a great thing to do, but just absolutely dispel any illusions about how much goes into it, because it's not a thing for the rabbits. It's for the tortoise.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think definitely like this whole experience has taught me consistency is king. Like you need to be consistent at this. I think it's very easy, and I've seen it. Like I remember like a few people in my social circle like started YouTube channels, right? And they got picked up quite quickly in terms of because of just the scope. So it's either gaming or beauty or something else, right? And politics is a very different kettle of fish because, you know, we require deep discussion, deep thought, and lots of planning. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, like, you know, like, are we in the wrong genre? But they gave up. They gave up so quickly, you know, and they call themselves YouTubers, but they've done 2 videos or 3, you know, and it's like, yeah, to come to 100 and like we've obviously, and like our production value definitely has surpassed the people I thought they were like, oh wow, they've got it so quickly. It's definitely showed me consistency is king, and it is a long haul. But at the same time, that's why, like, you know, you have to really make sure you understand your why and why you want to start, you know, whether upskill, you know, you don't, some people like to keep this as a hobby and like work, you know, we did that for a while. Most of us were like, well, this is just a hobby. Like, and we enjoy it as it is, and that's fine, you know. Other people want to make it grow and do other things with it. But yeah, really understand your why will help you overcome that, you know, hurdle, I feel.
Yes. Yeah. Understanding. Yeah. What the audience is getting and why you're doing it. Yeah, that's a really good point. And for me, just to finish up this video from my side, thanks to everyone who's joined us on this journey on this first 100 videos and have stuck with it, because hopefully you're at the cusp of something early in this bell curve that we grow very, very rapidly over time, and we will stick with it over time and continue to deliver value. And for those, we will always remember those that came with us at the beginning of the journey. So do keep in touch and leave comments down below on the video. Remind us who you are, because we have a lot more people who watch than actually comment. So do leave a comment down below so we can kind of have a marker. We can come back to this video, you know, a few years from now and say, these are the people that were with us from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And
I'd like to know like your name and then like where you're from.
Yeah,
because
just a country or, you know, or a city.
Yeah, because we have a lot of Lithuanians in our audience, but then, you know, your video, lots of Australians as well. And how I'm confused of who's watching. We have like a diverse.
We have a great audience. All right. Well, I think this is a good spot to just wrap off and mark this journey. I've got, I've been collecting a few things that we can use for future milestones. So there'll be some good videos coming up when we do reach those milestones.
Oh God!
And there are more. And there are, I know why she's laughing. And
to be honest, I've also got some for future milestones too. So.
Damn. All right. Well, thanks very much, guys. I've got more videos to record, so we'll get on to that now. And thank you so much for tuning in.
All right. See you later.
See you next time.